Doon-lady doon, lady doon, lady doon, lady doon-lady doon, lady doon, lady doon, lady doon-lady doon, lady doon, lady doon, lady. That's the introduction to Gino Sferrusa's musical break in your talk show day. That's what's going on right now, Thursday, February 6th of 2014. I'm Jim Dedelow, host of Jed in the Region. Just finished about 4 hours of radio. Then we give everybody a break from all the talk, and Gino does his doon-lady doon, lady doon, lady doon, lady doon-lady doon, lady doon, lady doon, lady. And he's doing that right now. What do we do this morning? Well, once again, it's butt cold. That's my term, butt cold. Ramon has defined that as bitterly, utterly temperature text. I'm not sure where that goes with it. But then we had some other people call in. Ron from Lowell called in and said it's cold as snot. So Ron from Lowell said it was 2 degrees below zero when he called in at 6:13 in the morning. And then we had Jen from Cherville call in at 6:24 this morning and said it was booger freezing cold, just in case you needed a nice image if you're eating lunch right now. What else did we have? We had Dave Gladish, a board-certified attorney out of Highland. He brought in some folks from the United Way and from Meals on Wheels, and that would have been Jeremy Miller out of Highland, a 1993 Highland High graduate, and we won't hold that against him because he's doing good work as the COO of Lake Area United Way. Then we also had Amanda Maynard. She's with Meals on Wheels, and what they're doing is on February 12th, that's Wednesday, there's going to be a 24-hour online push to get a bunch of money for local charities. And we'll push it too, of course, here. But it would be nwigives.razoo.com. And I think I've got that right, but hey, who cares, right? You'll figure it out because you want to give money to the local charities, just like a lot of us here that are not you. How does that sound? What else did we do after that? We had come in Gary Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson, and it was good to have her on I haven't had her on for a while. We talked about the Gary Private Partnership. It's a P3. Avco is the company that the airport has partnered with for Avco to run the airport. The mayor seems very hopeful that that's going to work out well and has some specific goals and says there should be some development around the airport and that you got to leave it to the experts. Also, we talked about snow removal in Gary. It's 483 miles of roads, and they basically have 5 big plows and some smaller ones and a couple end loaders. They've been hiring some folks outside of Gary to come help with the snow, but still today, the only real schools that are closed today, this very cold day after a snowstorm, are the schools in Gary, and ostensibly that's because the buses cannot get around. Also, Frank Mervan III came in. He is the trustee of North Township, and he talked about some of the challenges of trying to get relief to people when it's this cold and this snowy and this bad of weather. You know, I asked him a question. I said, there's 180,000 people in North Township of Whiting, East Chicago, and Gary, and Munster, Highland. I said, how many do you think don't have heat? And he did the math, and he thought it was about 2,500 people living in North Township without heat during this. Well, what is it going to be today? A low of, what, -3 or so? I mean, and we have next 5 days of bitter cold. And just to think that anyone's living without heat right now is very difficult. To think that that number may be more than 100 or even more than 1,000 is almost inconceivable. And that's why February 12th will be such a big deal, and that'll be online giving. I'll make sure to give details on these blogs and on the air. All right, so I hope I didn't forget anything, but I'm just going to leave you with this on the way out because it's actually going live on the air right now. Doon dee dee doon dee dee doon dee dee doon dee doo doon dee dee doon dee dee doon dee dee doon dee doo doon dee dee doon dee dee doon dee dee doon dee doo. Jim Dedelow, AM 1230 WJOB.